Hi everyone, welcome to my guide to the Everfall. This is just a quick intro. Before you go down there, you want to get a few things. You want something that's going to cure blindness, either eyedroppers or this Vigilite. We want something to cure the skill stifling. And you also want something to cure petrification. If you have sort of those three, you should be alright with all your curatives and such. That's about all the curatives you're going to need is blindness, skill stifling or silence, something like that, and petrification. I do have a ring in this armor to reduce the chance of petrification and blindness and such, so I don't really carry these around. You'll see me probably not get any of these status ailments, but this is going to be just a basic guide. Hopefully real quick, and let's get into it. So the very first thing you're going to notice when you enter the Everfall is all the levels have question marks on it, so that you can't actually tell which it is, and that is because you have to beat the first boss of the Everfall to actually enable it. So we're not going to do level 1 because level 1 is the exit. So we're going to start on level 2, and this is the sort of the precursor to the Everfall. This is the Chamber of Confusion. There are 2 pawns in here, and if you are missing Everfall knowledge for some of your pawns, you might want to talk to these guys. This is missable, but you might want to talk to these guys because there is some knowledge in talking to this.
I know not the cause of their corruption.
These guys are obviously left here. You know, their master would have died. But here we go. Here's the map. This boss, the Evil Eye, is only vulnerable while it is casting. All the times it has a shield. It does have ice projectiles, fire and lightning projectiles. Lightning is slow moving, so it's not too much. But it does have that attack you just saw there is blinding. It does have a grapple. It does have a debuff. As you see, I just buff my weapon there. That spell that's casting will take away my buff. But since it is vulnerable while it is casting that, I sort of get it there. And if you can hack off all the tentacles, you can get it down. You should do some major damage there. Your pawns should probably do a lot of the work, but as you can see, I'm by myself, so there you go. Really nasty enemy. Once he's gone, then all the levels should appear. So let's start with level 1, the Chamber of Anxiety. You'll see the map here. This is just a basic dead end. In here you'll find a summoner. You'll summon some skeletons and such. It's pretty simple. You'll see me just using the holy buff quite a lot, mainly because of the tracking. You'll see this guy actually flattens me, but because I'd already fired out a few of the holy orbs, it actually hits him while I'm down. So that was the first one. And second level here is off to the right hand side as you come down. This is the Chamber of Absence. So you can see there's the map here. There is another entrance on the bottom floor. In here you'll find a few Geosaurians. They're not the strongest Saurian underneath the Saurian sages. You might have a little trouble with these guys. He's quite tough. I did try a few things against them, but they weren't really weak to anything. So I just used my sort of strongest basic attack. Bit of chest over here. Now down stairs, you'll run into hellhounds. There's half a dozen hellhounds down here. You see, I got it's a bit of a stun lock going on there. Pretty annoying when you're the only one. This is my solo mage hard mode playthrough, but I decided to record a little guide for just for my own enjoyment, really. So there's some tucked around in the corner there. No chest in that area. And there are a few more just before you enter the next bit of the map. This is the end of the Chamber of Absence. In here you'll find quite a few grim goblins, so be careful, because they can flatten you if you're down on the ground. They can run up and stomp you, and there's a few of them around. They can do quite a bit of damage, so just watch out for that. But after you take care of all of them, that's it. You're done with this chamber. Now we're on to the Chamber of Hesitation. As the name suggests, you might want to hold off going through here until you're really set up. Down at the bottom of this first little area here, you'll find a few Saurian sages. They're quite strong against magic. But once you've taken care of them, you'll find another few sort of down the hallway, the very end of the hallway, and sort of up on the walls. If you can just take a careful look and just make sure that they aren't going to jump out at you. As of course the strategy with all Saurians is to go for the tail, and once the tail is off, then it's pretty easy to just take them down. As you can see, I froze one of them, so that sort of gives me a bit of an opportunity. Through the doorway you'll find your first sort of challenge in the Everfall. It is the Archhydra, surrounded with a bunch of undead. So I use the High Maelstrom to clear out all the undead. This is sort of my crowd control ability. If you're here with a team with 4, you should probably have. You probably shouldn't have too much of going against this boss. But as you can see there, I do chop all 4 heads of the Archhydra here. Is there 4 or 5? I can't see. I'm recording this with a bit of a glare on screen. I get all of the heads off, and probably then would have been a good time to use the combustion, or whatever you call it. The flame warp to sort of singe their heads, but it doesn't actually work the same as it does for Hydra, because if you burn a Hydra's head once you cut it off, it does stop it from growing back. But you'll see here that the head actually does almost grow back, straight away. You got to be careful for blindness with this little boss, because it can spit some venom at you that'll blind you. You'll see the attack. After I get grabbed here, I sort of wiggle my way out of it. There's the attack right there. You just saw that head sort of spit that out. It will leave a kind of a mist, and if you walk into that mist a couple seconds after it sprayed it, then you will be blind. But there you go. I just hacked the last of the head off, and there we go. I've beat the Archhydra. As you can see here, the Chamber of Apprehension is down to the south. Upon entering the Chamber of Apprehension, you will face a random encounter between these 2 cockatrice and some summoners and Gore Chimera. This is the first chamber where you will encounter the miniature Evil Eye. They do have the same ability to sort of debuff your weapon. So you try to take those 2 out first, because they do have some pretty nasty magic. can see there, I'm just trying to take out these Grim Goblins as well. We're watching out for the cockatrices. Cockatrice, I think that's it. But the tiny version of the Evil Eye is, I believe it has pretty much the same abilities, just less health, sort of less issues dealing with it. You can sort of attack it while it's casting. That's sort of its only weakness. But as you can see there, I took them out, and this is the alternative to the cockatrice. We've got two summoners with a Gore Chimera, and these guys, I think they summon undead, and there is a Hellhound. There is up to 3 Hellhounds, I believe. It's just the same strategy. I go for the casters first. I actually kill them both at the same time here. There we go. And once they're down, then it's pretty much just the Chimera there. I took his tail off and did enough damage to sort of knock him to the ground, and it's pretty much over from there. Next up is the Chamber of Remorse. This first little area here does have a merchant. If you are looking for some in-game equipment, there is it right there. You just saw the map, and just before the next zone, you'll notice the merchant there. I'll show you some of his gear. He's got some nice rings and some weapons. You'll be able to look through there. As you just saw there are 5 chests in that little area, so if you want to farm any chests, that's a little bit there. So we've got a short bow, some shields, what was that? I didn't see that. We've got a sword, maybe some daggers. Proceeding through to the next area, you will find some Grim Goblins. So watch out for those. There's quite a few Grim Goblins in this little area here. And as you can tell right there, there is a Golem. And down below there is actually a Cyclops as well. He is armored, but you can see me. This is a good trick. If you actually climb onto the back of a Cyclops, he will try and get you off, but in doing that he will knock his armor off. So once he does that, then I just cast using the thunder element. I just cast and then brings him down. Finishing off the rest of the Grim Goblins with my focus bolt, which is a very, very powerful sort of ability. Few more around the corner there. My golem, when I was trying to fight that golem, he did actually fall off. So I took care of all the other enemies and then decided to take him on. This fight took about 10 minutes, probably longer than that. As you can see, I run up and I'm trying to jump and sort of get his hand, but it doesn't really work. So I have to grapple onto him and then jump off of him, and then that sort of gets me high enough to sort of get that final little hit on there. With all golems, if you attack the glowing metal and destroy it, he will be frozen for a time, but then he'll come back and he will be in a rage. So try to save that glowing one for last if you don't want too much of a hassle. Moving on to the next chamber. And we have here the Chamber of Tragedy. I believe this is the one with the succubi. There's quite a few succubi, and there is also quite a few gargoyles in here. Now, gargoyles are able to petrify you. They will grapple you and they will stab you with their tail, and that will petrify you. So be sure to have some softener or some cockatrice liqueur. But these succubus, succubi, must be succubi. Succubi are not very resistant against the holy magic, so I take him out pretty quick. And sort of around the corner, you'll see the 3 gargoyles. Just they chilling out on the roof. So if you can attack them before they notice you, then you should be right. I believe there is a chest in all 4 corners of the room in the first level, as you can see here. Now I am going to skip out the Chamber of Lament and just go on to the Chamber of Fate. You'll see at the end of the video I will take on the dragon and pretty much dominate him, because this character is pretty tough. But inside of the Chamber of Fate you will come across a Drake, I think. Drake is surrounded by a bunch of harpies. They're not succubi, they're just normal harpies, so they shouldn't be too much of a fight. But the Drake is just standard dragon fight. Get him down to low health by hitting him in the weak spot, and the final blow in the weak spot finishes him off. Through the next area, after you've finished the Drake, though, there are succubi, and as you can see, straight away as soon as you enter the zone, they're right there, and they do start to attack you. It's quite annoying when there's a few of them around, but this is why I like the holy focus bolt, because you can just spam the attack and it will auto track, just sort of make it a bit easier. We've got a gargoyle here. He's a bit more resistant to magic, but just one enemy by themselves isn't too much of a worry for us. Heading downstairs, you will find a few more. You'll notice just over there, I believe he did come from downstairs. If he's not there in your game, then go downstairs, and he probably should be there. Be careful with him. It's pretty much just bats left. You'll notice a few bats in front of this chest, and in the opposite corner there will be bats as well. I don't think there's a chest here though. Oh, there is. Okay. Next up is the Chamber of Distress. As soon as you enter this chamber, you will be surrounded by dire wolves and snow harpies, so be careful you don't get frozen solid, because that'll let you get those wolves at an opportunity in there to sort of hit you. Not too much. I mean, you've fought dire wolves and snow harpies to get up to this point, so it's not too much. Got the maps there. Up the top, across the bridge, you'll find more wolves. I believe there's a chest up here as well. Head to the next area. I believe this is a worm. Or this could be a wyvern. I don't know. It's the one that uses magic. It does have the ability to stifle your skills. But as you can see, it's no match for me. I generally tend to slow them down, and they go down. Next up, we have the Chamber of Estrangement. This is another random opportunity. Here we fight a golem, cyclops, and an ogre. The opposite being a metal golem with a summoner. So this is pretty much basically get your priorities straight. I take out the ogre first because he's the fastest moving one, followed by the cyclops with the electric, because he's pretty easy to take care of like that, and then followed by the golem because he's the most difficult. He's actually pretty slow. Golems aren't too difficult. I mean the medals on their head and on the bottom of the foot are probably the one on the foot's probably the most difficult. In the next area you'll see a bunch of pawns standing around, and you'll see the next merchant there. He also has a few more rings and the other set of end game weapons, so I'll show you a few of them there. In the next area we have giant undead, and they can charge, and it is quite hard to stagger them while they're charging, so be careful. Be aware that they might actually charge. I believe they're called specters. It goes ghosts, phantasms, specters. So there's a few of them. When you approach these two chests, be careful, because you will be surrounded with some undead that spawn out of the ground. And as well as when you walk across the bridge, you'll find quite a few undead there as well. So this was my alternate. As you can see, it's a metal golem. So I took out the summoner first. He pretty much goes down in one hit, so that wasn't too difficult. And then it's just a matter of taking out the glowing medallions, and then he just dies. He's got no more magical power, I guess. Next up is the Chamber of Woe. Pretty simple chamber, this one. It is just one zone, one room, with a summoner in it, and he will summon, I think it's a hellhound, a skeleton lord, and a few other skeletons. But it's not a difficult room. I mean, if you're relatively new to the game, not too much of a high level, you can sort of farm a few of these zones. This one's probably pretty good because you can do the skeleton lord mission, the bounty quest as well. Next up is the Chamber of Sorrow. This is the chamber with the evil eye in it. As you saw at the start of this video, there's the way to beat the evil eye is to sort of bait out its cast, and then once it casts, do enough damage to stagger it, and then once it is staggered, just go nuts on it. But don't bother attacking its tentacles as you run through these first little levels, because they will spawn. They will keep spawning infinitely. But once you run in there, you'll see it can teleport as well, and there's its grapple maneuver, and that does take quite a bit of fiddling with the old stick there to get out of it. As you can see, it gets me down to 0 health if it wasn't for my armor having passive health regen, then I probably would have died then. I do have wake stone, so it's not much of an issue. So there we go, there's me buffing to draw out its attack, and there we go, I just take it down. Once I get it in the stagger, then it's just a matter of running up to it and hitting it in the eyeball. Some grim goblins after that. Depending on which way you go, you enter from the top level and you can continue around to the top level, or you can go down the bottom level, fight the evil eye, and then circle back around. But there are some more vile eye. I think that's what they're called. They're vile eyes. There are 2 of them right there. Next up is the Chamber of Resolution. As soon as you enter this little zone here, you'll be faced with 2 ogres and quite a few giant undead. That ogre did actually get taken out with a 1 focus bolt, so not too bad. Around the corner from there you'll find another ogre, and that's pretty much all for this little first little zone. As you can see here, there is a cockatrice. He is surrounded by a few Geosaurians as well as Saurian sages. Now you do have to be careful with these Saurian sages because they will buff the cockatrice as well. And the only way that I managed to actually kill the Saurians is to let them get petrified by the cockatrice and then just sort of attack them once, and that was the only way I could actually kill them, because being a caster, being a magic user, something with extremely high magic resist is quite hard to do. So as you can see there, just one hit is enough to shatter them, and then I can just bring the cockatrice down easily. Next up is the Chamber of Inspiration. I had a bit of a trouble trying to reach this chamber here. As you can see, I only just managed to grab it, even after I fell past it. But in this chamber, you will find a few phantasms or specters, with some skeleton knights. You'll see, as soon as I enter here, I do actually get possessed, and without anyone to hit me, it kind of just runs me all the way down to 0. And you know, the passive health regen on my armor is actually the only thing keeping me alive. But in order to get away from it, I did have to take the armor off and use a wake stone for it to sort of unpossess me. There's a quick view of the map there. On the bottom level, you've got the few skeleton magi sort of in that corner there. As well over there, so you see we're pretty much one-shotting everything. As you go upstairs, another 2 will spawn. and chest upstairs behind all these boxes. And down the bottom you will find the Chamber of Hope. Within this chamber there is, I think the final zone of it is, there is a Gore Chimera. But as you enter this first little bit, there are quite a few undead in this little area. So I managed to take them out with a maelstrom there. I actually quite like this little ability because it does stack all the loot in one spot there. But after proceeding to the next area, as soon as I get in this area I charge up a spell straight away, and then as soon as it pops its head around the corner, there you go, I'm ready to release it, and it it doesn't stand a chance. So if you know what you're in for, then it shouldn't be too difficult with a bunch of skeleton magi left. Upstairs. Here's a bit of a look at the map. White wine is actually quite a nice curative. I do have some pretty end game gear. This is level 3 armor. I've got a level 3 weapon, and I've got some good curatives. I keep taking my curatives to the Black Cat to duplicate them. Curatives do work as duplicates. They're still exactly the same. And as you can see, just finishing off a few of these skeleton mages, and after that we will head to the Chamber of Lament and take on the Dragon, and that'll wrap up this video. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this gave you a bit of information, and yeah, let me know if you liked it, let me know if you didn't like it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.